Welcome back everyone to Module 1, Non-Formal Education. Today's lesson is entitled Strengthening the Arc of Learning in the Classroom and Reflecting on My Lesson Plan. In today's lesson, we will cover the following topics. Number 1, the components of non-formal education lesson plans. Number 2, how each component strengthens the learning that takes place within our classrooms. And finally, number 3, reflecting on our lesson plans to build a better practice. Today we're going to be looking at two different learning targets. Now, it's normal to have more than one learning target in lessons, so don't think that it's something strange. You may also incorporate multiple learning targets in your lessons when you're creating a lesson. You just want to make sure you're actually reaching those targets at the end of the lesson. So for our first learning target, it is I will be able to explain key components of a non-formal lesson plan and describe how each component strengthens the arc of learning within non-formal educational settings. Learning target number 2 is I will be able to assess and reflect on my mini non-formal lesson plan. The main takeaway I want you to have for today is being able to reflect sincerely, thoughtfully, and thoroughly on your mini lesson plan that you created yesterday. As a brief reminder, the key components of non-formal lessons are: number 1, participants have opportunities to acquire common and academic knowledge. Number 2, participants experience social and emotional learning, SEL. Number 3, participants have opportunities for self-led exploration and learning. Number 4, the lesson provides multiple points of entry for every participant regardless of their age, gender, culture, and skill level. In the case of your mini non-formal lesson plan reflection, we're going to be focusing on the following 6 questions. Number 1, how are my students acquiring common and academic knowledge? Number 2, what type of common and academic knowledge are they actually learning? Number 3, how are my students experiencing social and emotional learning? In other words, which parts of the lesson provide social and emotional learning for students and how? Number 4, where are there opportunities for students to have self-led exploration and learning? In the case of non-formal education, self-led exploration does not necessarily mean that the student is working by themselves. It just means that it is a hands-off approach from the educator's point of view. So you as the educator, the facilitator, or the teacher in the room, you're taking a step back and allowing students to lead the learning that is happening. Number 5, what are the entry points available for my students? So if a student gets lost or may stumble upon a problem, where have I provided opportunities for that student to come back on board into that lesson so that they do not feel isolated and they don't start acting out, causing classroom management behaviors as a result? Number 6, what universal learning does my activity have? And that key word in number 6 is universal. In other words, what can children, adolescents, adults, or even seniors learn from participating in the activity? So we want to be able to create activities that allow anyone within a community that may be a participant successfully involve themselves within that activity so that they're learning something. So having an understanding of the 6 main questions you will be reflecting on today, thinking of your self-reflection assessment, I'm asking you to pull up your mini lesson plan from yesterday and use it towards that reflection that you will be doing on the Google platform when this lesson is over. Remember to be thoughtful and thorough in your responses. The reason why I say that is because the goal of this week's module was to help you gain insight on what non-formal education as well as social emotional learning is, and how you can embed the components into your lesson plan. So as you're reflecting, I'm not asking you to go back and change anything on your lesson plan. If by chance you skipped a component or you didn't include it, that is perfectly fine for this activity that you're about to do. The point that I want you to remember is that you're able to pinpoint components that you need to have. You're able to identify times in which you did not incorporate a component. so that when you're moving forward, you're able to do so and have a basic fundamental understanding of why those components are important. If you have any questions about completing the reflection, if you're stuck on any of the questions, please reach out to me and I will definitely help you move along with the process. At this point, I would like to sincerely congratulate each and every one of you. You've completed the first module on our Google Learning platform. Today, your only assignment is for you to assess and reflect on your own personal lesson plan. In an ideal setting, if you were to try to implement a procedure such as what I modeled for you this week, what you would normally do is have your students do a peer review. So if this is something that you wish to do with your students where you know you have a final target at the end of the week, let's say you're making a volcano and you want your students to assess whether or not they've met every single component of that volcano activity, you can have them do peer reviews with each other, which is what we would ideally do if we were able or in a situation to sit down with each other in a classroom setting. That being said, today you're only reflecting on your lesson plan. Please be honest with your reflection. I want you to be able to name the points where you think you did amazing, as well as the points where you think that you could use some improvement. If you have questions about what specific components are, or you're not sure how it can fit into the lesson plan the way it is currently written, send me a message and I'll look over your lesson plan and walk you through ways in which we can embed both non-formal educational components as well as social and emotional learning components. I have utmost faith in every single one of you, and I'm really hopeful and excited to see your lesson plan reflections at the end of today's activity. Thank you all for your time and consideration. I know it's a very difficult time that we're all facing, and I appreciate the fact that you're dedicated towards your role here at Saya, as well as towards your own personal professional development. Once more, I would like to sincerely thank each and every one of you for completing this first learning module. I know it's been a very rough week for all of us, and your time and dedication towards your personal and professional growth is really appreciated. I'm hopeful that the lessons that I've created have lent themselves to some sort of learning on your end, and I'm looking forward to reading your reflections today at the end of the lesson. That being said, please head over to the classroom, complete the corresponding mini lesson plan reflection, and reach out to me if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Once more, my email address is ray.badal@saya.org, and I've already emailed my telephone number to every single person enrolled in these courses. Take care, everyone, and stay healthy.